Check, mic check, 1, 2.
Yo, is this thing on or what?
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Platform Podcast. As always, I am your host, Dex. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to go hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, give us a follow. Leave us that 5-star review. Leave any questions or comments in there for guests. Let me know who you want to see on upcoming shows. And of course, make sure you're following the Platform Mix to listen to new shows every Monday as well. Before we get started, I got to give a big shout out to our brand partner, Make It Now Media. Whether you're a DJ, an agency, artist, need any graphic design work, EPKs, logos, anything like that, hit up Make It Now Media. Use the code PLATFORM. They will get you all taken care of for whatever you need. Now, today on the show, I'm joined by one of the best DJs in the world, a Red Bull 3-style U.S. champion. Lived in D.C., now he's out in New Mexico, sitting down with Trayze. Thanks for hopping on the couch, man.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
How are we doing on this early morning, man?
Good, man. Just surviving. Got my coffee. Just landed here. We're in Nashville. I was in Cleveland last night, and just like 2 hours of sleep. First flight out, that 6 a.m. flight. There's very few, like I was telling you in the car, there's very few flights direct from Cleveland to Nashville, which is kind of weird. Because it's one of those like short distances. So it was either early morning or late. Yeah. So I'd rather be in early. But yeah, I'm doing good, man. Doing good.
Good to finally meet. I know we've, it's always funny, like I'll have these guys come in and I'll see them coming into Nashville and I shoot a DM over. I'm like, yo, you got time to get on the podcast? Because obviously I like just hearing other people's stories, and especially for somebody like you, I've followed you for a long time with your DJ career and your journey through everything.
Thanks, man.
Obviously playing a lot of edits and stuff that are out there too, so that
Appreciate
always helps. But yeah, then I saw that Rate was having you at Boom Bap, and I was like, shit, let me see if I can get him on the show while he's here. And you answered right away, and you're like, yeah, if I can set it up, for sure.
The DMs are always open.
Yeah.
Slide in there. Yeah, no, I try to make it a point to answer as many messages as I can. And dude, I love talking shop, so
yeah,
always down. So I appreciate the invite too.
Yeah, love it, man. Well, yeah, we're going to get into a couple things, obviously, with what you've got going on. Just how you were just talking about coming from Cleveland and some of the different sets and venues that you are playing. Because obviously last night you played John Boy in Cleveland. Tonight you're playing Boom Bap.
Very different.
Very, very, very different events. So we're going to get into that and just kind of where your creative process goes, planning and prepping for all those sets. The things that you're doing outside, making edits and remixes, being exclusive for DJ City, but then doing all your stuff yourself too. For Patreon and for the followers that you have there, get into like how you've grown that following as well. And then just a couple other things that we got set. But before we got started, man, just let these viewers, let the listeners know a little bit about you, where you're from, and how long you've been doing this music thing.
I'm Trayze. I'm from Washington, D.C. Been DJing longer than I haven't.
That's a good way to put it. Not giving the age away. There you go.
No, I've been DJing since like 97, 98. So I'm going to let you guys do the math on that one.
Yeah.
Musician first before DJing. I've played cello in grade school.
Okay.
And I play piano. I play drums. I played drums in our school jazz band, so I play lots of different instruments. And DJing was born out of radio. So I love radio. I love radio mix shows. That's what got me into DJing, was hearing radio mix shows. And the high school that I went to in the DC area had an actual radio station.
In the high school?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And we also had like a whole communication arts program. We had like a cable television station. We had a newspaper.
Okay.
So they touched everything. And this is like pre-internet days.
Yeah.
So there wasn't any like streaming or anything like that. But yeah, so got into radio, and Sirius XM before they merged, it was just XM. XM's headquarters, their main studios were all in DC. So our radio teacher got us all like internships at XM in high school.
Yeah.
So I was producing a show at XM in like junior, senior year of high school, which is cool.
Were you actually like on the mic and everything, or you were just doing like setup of the rundown for everything?
Yeah, I was not like on-air talent.
Yeah.
Just producer, engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then on the school radio station, I had a mix show.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did you actually like start DJing? Because obviously you
Like
traditionally trained for
like
music.
97.
Okay.
So like high school, like first year of high school.
That's what. Yeah, I knew you said the year, but I didn't know like when it was that you actually.
So started DJing like first year of high school.
Did they have anybody from the radio that was like teaching you how to DJ, or how did you actually like learn how to DJ?
No, just all self-taught.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really have a mentor until maybe like 2-3 years in.
Okay.
I had a couple mentors. Also radio guys, FM radio guys from the DC area, like Exclusive, who else? I think now he goes by Damian Daniel. He was definitely one of my like early mentors. I used to open up for him, carry his crates in DC. And like, this is like vinyl days, obviously, like early CDJ days. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just self-taught. Got into doing like battles, did some early DMCs, like late 90s DMCs, just like regional ones, never won anything. And just was doing house parties and all the school parties, started doing the school dances.
Yeah.
And doing radio at the same time. And then after high school, just kind of evolved into doing clubs. And I've been doing clubs since I was like 17, where I had to come super early so I could actually get in and drag as many friends as I could that were not 21.
Yeah.
You carry the headphones, you carry this crate, or we would like take records out of the crate. And we would roll in with like 8 people.
Just splitting up all the work just so everybody could get in.
And I'm like, look, you're in. You can't. It's like 9 o'clock. Like you can't leave.
Yeah,
because you're not getting back in. So yeah,
but at least then you have people there to support and be with you.
Oh no, they all left because by the end of the night, it's like me and my girlfriend or now wife, in the booth, like, and maybe one friend, and I have these 5 crates of records and my bag and shit, and it's like. Now we gotta drag all this down.
Now you got nobody
2
else
flights
to
of stairs. Yeah,
I don't miss that.
That's like I feel like that's the cliche vinyl DJ story when like all your friends disappear by the end of the night. They'll gladly carry some stuff in to get into the club, but when it's time to go home, they scatter.
Just Irish exit at some point. They're like, you're carrying all that shit yourself.
Yep. Yeah.
But you and your wife been together that long? You guys have been high school sweethearts, or what?
High school sweethearts.
Okay,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, been living together for 20 plus years.
Okay.
Been married for 16 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is she in music at all, or
No.
just no?
My wife's in the medical field.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really good. It's a really good combination. That like.
Yeah.
One person has the like non-music DJing job and the other person does. I feel like if you both have the same
like
job,
both in the nightlife industry or something like that.
I can see that being like weird or problematic, or maybe not. I don't know. But it's been a good fit for us.
Yeah. Now you're living out in New Mexico. Are you DJing out there at all, or is that just kind of home based and
It's
you're
just
traveling?
home base. Yeah, we're just there because of my wife's job.
Yep.
Like, all my gigs are getting on a plane.
Yeah.
So I'm on a plane like every weekend, every other weekend.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about that, on kind of where you're playing, like what residencies you have right now, what your typical like weekend or week route is.
Everything's a one-off, man. I guess I could call things residencies, but pretty much everything's just a one-off. Like, I play in Vegas a few times a year. I play back in DC, and then everything else is just like a one-off thing. And I try to put together little runs. Like I got this booking here in Nashville for the Boom Bap, and I was like, all right, well, it's a Saturday. Let me see if I can get a Friday close by.
Yep.
So then I booked the John Boy gig for last night because it's close. It's a quick flight.
Yeah.
And I guess, I mean, you could even call that a residency because I've played their spot in St. Pete too.
Yep.
So yeah, and you know, they loved me at both spots, so I could definitely like parlay that into doing like all of them. I heard the San Diego one's crazy.
Chicago one is fucking nuts. If you have not been to that one is.
I've heard that one's cool. My buddy, well, now he goes by Velvet Haas.
Yeah, Phenom.
Yeah, Phenom.
Phenom's the homie, man. He's a great dude. I've known him forever.
He's
man.
played out there, and I've heard some good things. So
yeah, the one in Chicago, like everybody that works there, and talking to Dante and all those dudes, like the Chicago one is just a fucking money printer. It's insane.
Yeah,
I was just there last weekend.
Okay,
Kazes was out there, so I went and stopped over there, and my parents are there. So basically, whenever I'm back in Chicago, I always try and stop by, and it's insane. And the John Boy vibe, obviously, like you know it from playing it, is that like disco, house, funk, like getting into just all that feel good stuff. I mean, you can get into that poppy stuff that still
all
works.
Fun,
and, yeah,
sing-alongs,
fun sing-alongs, and it's crazy to me because like when I played the Cleveland one, I realized just like how well curated they've made that room, where the clientele that's coming there like knows what they're gonna get. And I played back to back. I played like Friday, Saturday night.
Okay.
The 2 nights I was there, didn't get a request the entire weekend.
Yeah.
Which is crazy of like where the DJ booth is too, because people have access to you. Like you're not up on a stage where they can't reach you. Like they can walk up and just stick a phone in your face.
I prefer that.
Yeah.
I'd rather be like down on the floor.
So would I, like setup wise. Yeah, for sure. I'd rather be kind of.
I don't like being detached from the dance floor too much.
I feel like people are like looking at you too much then. It's just like then they're just kind of staring at you instead of like dancing and interacting.
And I come from the era of like the DJ was the dude in the corner. So yeah. But I've also done the big stage look at me stuff too. So but yeah, John Boy's cool. I've had a great time. The two nights I've played there, the Cleveland one and the St. Pete, they were great, man. Super fun. Crowd's fun. And like you said, they're definitely well trained to expect the disco classics, and very few requests. Like the requests I got last night were kind of just like,
did they fit the vibe?
No, not at all. It was like the typical like, I want to hear what I want to hear stuff. Like
play Sexy Red, play some Drake.
It's just like, come on, guys, read the room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, obviously that's our job.
Yeah. I'm like, not everybody can do that.
But yeah, other than that, I play in Miami a lot.
Where are you usually at out there?
Like any of the Wynwood spots.
Okay.
Like I play Koyo. I play Dante's. I've done Dante's twice this year. I love that spot. That's all vinyl. It's like a Japanese inspired lounge, but it's like got proper DJs.
Yeah.
Playing like almost every night of the week. So I play down there, and been playing in Houston a couple times this year at another spot called Off the Record. Wait, On the Record?
On the Record or
dude.
Is it the same as the Vegas one?
I played back-to-back weekends at On the Record and Off the Record, and I had to like double check myself and like who I would
on the
tag
record
on
is Vegas, right?
Right.
Yeah. So then Houston has one called Off the Record?
Yeah, it's dope too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is
and
that
it's
all
kind of a
vinyl spot?
similar kind of theme.
Yeah.
But yeah, I play both of those spots. So, but the one I did like back-to-back weekends at those two spots in July, and I had to catch myself a couple times. Wait, am I on the record or off the record?
Is that an all vinyl spot then too, or no?
No.
Okay.
No. Serato.
Yeah.
Or like whatever you show up with.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of all vinyl sets? Like,
Not a lot. More this year than I've done in a long time.
Yeah. Because what was the one in Vegas that you did with?
I opened up for Mayor Hawthorne.
That's what it was. Yeah.
That was we did an after party for Life is Beautiful.
Okay.
Which is like a big festival out there. Actually just happened. I think it happens in like late September, early October.
Okay.
I got booked to do an after party Well, it was actually like 2 back-to-back nights. I got booked to do a big party for Hardin, the dispensary.
That's Bonix thing?
Yeah, Bonix's thing.
Yeah.
Shout out Bonix.
Bonix
my brother.
is the man, yeah.
He booked me to do a big party for them, and then the next night I got booked, oddly enough, same venue, but like totally different party. I got asked to do an opening set for Mayor Hawthorne.
Okay.
Yeah, that was fun. And yeah, that was all vinyl. They wanted somebody who would be like a good fit for him and that could like open and close and do it all on wax. And there's a bunch of like really dope all vinyl cats out there too. But I was there and it worked out. It was great. Had a blast. Dude, I played till 6 a.m.
And started when?
Well,
you had to open, like,
I started
when was
at 10.
Yeah.
Mayor Hawthorne went on at like 12:31.
Okay.
Played till like 3.
Okay.
And then I played 3 to 6.
So you did 2.5, and so 5.5 hours.
But
all on wax.
That closing set was the one.
Yeah.
That was fun because it was weird. It was like from 3 to 4, it kind of cleared out a little bit, and we were on the fence about if we were just gonna cut it or like try to push. And then right before 4, we got this like massive push. And I went till like almost 6. They had to shut it down. They were like, the bartenders want to go home. Like, and I think in Vegas, there's no rules for some of those spots.
Hours.
Like they can just go around the clock.
Yeah.
So, especially at the bigger casino spots, I know like if it's busy, they'll just stay open. But it was great, man. I had a blast. That was a fun set, all vinyl. Yeah, I'm doing more vinyl sets. I just did one in DC at my homie spot.
Okay.
Grazie Mille. They have like a really nice nightclub lounge in behind this Italian restaurant. And they do all vinyl DJs like 3-4 nights a week.
Yeah.
That was fun. So yeah, I'm doing more. All 7-inch records.
Oh, so just the 45s?
Yeah.
Oh.
Just because for me, it's more fun and
probably also easier to transport too if you're traveling.
Yeah, I can move around like really easily with like 200 records.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that's just one bag. If I'm gonna go like really maniac, I can bring 2 bags but like one bag of 200, I can play like 5 hours easy.
Yeah, that's a wild thing. I have never gotten. I need to learn more about just the all vinyl sets and how to play that, because I mean I started DJing in 2017 and it's like I learned how to play on turntables, but it was turntables with control vinyls where you're not having to do as much, where I feel like if you know how to truly play on vinyl, it makes you a better DJ, because I feel like you're having to pick and choose where the song is going to start, learn more about like marking and organizing, all that kind of stuff. And then obviously beat matching, you're not having a waveform to look at. You gotta use the ears and be trained. So
yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
The closest thing I can say is if you've never played on vinyl and you're out there listening or DJ with vinyl, I guess the closest thing to it would be like DJing on CDJs with a flash drive. That's like the closest thing to it, where like there's no laptop and waveforms in your face. But it's fun, man. I love it. It's very freeing and also limiting, and you really have to think hard about like the songs that you want to play, the records that you want to bring out of your house, and you have to be really
diligent,
deliberate in your selections.
Yeah.
So, because what you bring is what you got. Like, you can't download anything.
So what goes into like your process for sets like that? I mean, like, are you prepping like song for song and like the direction that you want to go, or do you just know your catalog that well that you can bounce from record to record?
It depends. Like all my vinyl's really well organized.
Yeah.
Like just as an example, I played Dante's a couple weeks ago, and I was doing a night with this guy from New York, Sticky Doja, and like he's more of like a hip hop edits dude. I mean, he plays everything, but He's like well known for that.
That's his bag.
Yeah, and that's not my bag.
Okay.
In the vinyl world, like I got rid of all my 12-inch rap stuff and like all my club stuff. Just sold it all, and like I'm slowly just trying to build my collection of other stuff.
Yeah.
Just because like I don't want to play that stuff right now. So I knew he was going to be like more heavier with those records. So then I was able to go through and build a bag or a crate to bring that was like other things. So, you know, I split it up. I had like a bunch of disco, a bunch of post disco boogie, had a whole section of funk, had a little bit of like 80s R&B, like slower stuff. I had like a little bit of 90s R&B. I had like a tiny bit of like New Jack Swing, and just like kind of stayed in that 70s, mid to late 70s to early 90s range of R&B dance floor bangers.
Yeah.
Like I didn't bring any Motown records. I didn't bring any 60s records. I didn't bring any kind of that stuff. I made that crate and that's what I had.
Yeah.
I like playing like dance floor stuff, you know, disco, boogie, funk. That's what I like to play on vinyl. On, you know, digital too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Played a lot of that stuff last night.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, John Boy's that perfect vibe for it.
Well, it's funny, when I did the one in St. Pete, I didn't know much about the club. All I knew is from friends that had played there and told me like, oh, it's disco. You're going to love it. It's great. I love disco music. So I was like, oh, cool. So I hit up after I got the booking. I was like, hey, I want to do this set on vinyl. And they were like, nah. And I was like, wait, why not? I think that would be crazy. Like, who else is going to show up and do that?
Yeah.
And they were like, dude, we don't even have turntables.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that's what I was gonna say. Is I feel like they just have CDJs at every spot, so then they would have to go and have somebody bring in turntables for it.
I mean, we could, if I would have pushed harder, we could have done it, and I think I would have been able to hold the room.
Yeah.
Even though it's like that St. Pete one is a really young crowd.
Yeah.
You know, they're like early mid-20s. I think I could have held it with just wax because I have some newer cuts too. But I think having the digital is probably the way to go.
Yeah,
so
that's
you
kind
could
of
play like more of the stuff that, you know, like last night I played like Starships and Icona Pop and stuff like that. You got to play a couple of those.
That's what I was saying before, where it's just all just like that kind of feel good vibe where you can get the sing-alongs that just get people on the dance floor too. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of why I was asking prior of like prepping that kind of stuff, because when you are on a Serato or whatever else, your searching process is streamlined so much where you can just type something in instead of trying to go through. And if you're not as organized for vinyl stuff, it's got to be a little bit more difficult to pick and choose where your tracks are at. But then like for you, I mean, do you enjoy that where you're playing venues and events and sets that are so drastically different, like going from a John Boy last night to then Boom Bap tonight? I mean, tell everybody here who doesn't know about Boom Bap, like what kind of event that is, because obviously now we know what John Boy was last night, and then tonight you're playing this, and it's crazy.
So the Boom Bap is a hip hop party in Nashville, which is kind of cool because Nashville is known as like country music city, country music kind of mecca. So to have like a long running, really well known, popular hip hop party in a country city is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So, I think being able to switch, you know, just back-to-back nights with completely different music, just means that I love music. And I also shows like my range and experience. You know, I've been doing this for a long time. I like playing a lot of different kind of music, and I've always been kind of like very true open format, because when I started that was just DJing.
Yeah,
it was really just DJing. Like the only kind of separation that you would get, there'd be like the kind of like the house and dance music dudes, and then there'd be like everybody else. So yeah, I just like playing all different styles of music. So I love like crazy runs where I have like 5 very different gigs back to back to back to back. It's just more prep for me, so it's a lot of work, but I love it, enjoy it. So the Boom Bap is a hip hop party, and yeah, it's just like totally different prep, man. Like it's a whole day of prep for John Boy, and then another whole day of prep for like, and like I have crates made obviously, but I always like make new ones.
Yeah.
Because I'm constantly making like new edits and coming up with new little routines and tricks and stuff. So I want to make sure I hit like all the things that I want to hit. So but yeah, man. Boom Bap. I guess you want me to tell the Boom Bap story, right?
Yeah, because this is your first time playing Boom Bap now.
Yeah. So I guess Rate had asked you to ask me to tell the Boom Bap story.
Yeah.
So this is like 4 years in the making. I got asked to play the Boom Bap in like late 2019, and I was like, "Great, all right, let's get a date on the calendar." I think it was March 30th, 2020 was the booking, and I was still living in DC at the time. Everybody knows what happened like late February, early March. I played my last gig, my Saturday. I had like a monthly Saturday residency in DC. I had 2, actually. I played the one, I think it was like the last weekend of February. And then I had my other one, which was like a house dance music night, this spot called Lost Society, which is, I don't know what's happening there now. This was like 5 years ago. So I played that last night there, and then I heard everything about COVID and things were starting to get shut down. And that I think it was like March 14th. I decided to just stay home. I was like, I don't want to risk it. I'm just going to stay home. And then everything shut down after that. So then sadly, Boom Bap gig didn't happen. And this is like the makeup date. Four years later. 4.5 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, 2024 is almost a wrap.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4.5 years later, man, here we are.
Yeah,
Boom Bap in Nashville.
It's an awesome party. I mean, I've had Rate on the show before. He was an awesome guest, and then kind of got to talk about the event that he's running and obviously how long it's been standing too, and being a hip hop event in Nashville. So it's a really cool event, and then the fact that he gets to bring in guys that he likes as a DJ. That will also play the room and play the event to the standard that he wants for the event too is cool. So it's cool to see him bring in these guys like you've had Scratch Bastard. He's had a bunch of other people that have came through that are just beasts of DJs that get to play this style of event too.
Yeah,
and,
man, I'm excited, and I love hip hop. I mean, that's how I started. You know, so I always love doing like a solid hip hop set. I don't get to play much. I play lots of hip hop in like a regular club set. Yeah. But it's going to be fun to play like a more focused hip hop set and get to play like some deeper cuts and like more kind of boom bap stuff, less like trap stuff. Which is like, that's the following that they have too, where that's the stuff that gets appreciated more than just playing like Drake and Future tracks, where it's what like you typically would hear in a nightclub. The stuff that you get to play tonight is going to be like stuff that isn't typical nightclub hip hop, but stuff that hip hop heads enjoy to hear, which is cool too. But yeah, that's how I look at it. Like when you're talking about playing these different venues and the prep and all the work and everything that goes into it, I look at it too, where it's like it's so much more refreshing to play those different sets, because you start to get kind of like not bored, but it's like you feel like you're playing the same thing at every different set. So playing those different rooms is much more enjoyable too. And then the work that goes into it, I like that work of like digging and finding new stuff and trying to be creative with what you're going to play for something else too. So I think too, there's a lot to be said for DJs that have a weekly residency in their hometown or city. You know, they don't have to get complacent either. Yeah. I know in like the early to mid 2000s, when I had a bunch of weekly residencies in DC, I was DJing like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, all at the same spots, like a different spot each night, but same spots each week. And I made it a point to not play the same set.
Yeah.
Constantly change it around, always introduce new music as often as I could, unless it's like a throwback night. It's not hard to do if you're dedicated to it. And I think it's important because like if the bar staff or the security is like, well, I know what song he's going to play after this one.
Yeah.
Then you're like, come on, bro. Like, it's just being lazy.
Which I've run into that a lot with residents in other cities and stuff like that.
They're just phoning it in.
Yeah. But I've talked about it a bunch on here too, where it's like, especially with me at Barstool out here, like I try extensively hard to not be that guy, because when you're playing a residency like that, especially where you're playing more than one night a week, like last night I was at Barstool, I'm there tonight. So it's like you're playing 2 nights in a row.
Even more important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where I literally will like keep the history highlighted and know like, hey, I played that last night, not playing that. Or if you're going to like those songs that are going to work and be hits, finding different edits, different remixes of them that aren't the same as they were the week before, the night before, things like that. Because that's where then the bartenders are like, oh, he plays the same shit every single time he's here. They start to get bored.
And that's another selling point for the edits. It's like, how many edits of espresso do you really need? Well, let me count the whiz.
Yeah. No, like I have people that look at my library and then they're like, damn, like you have so much music. I'm like, yeah, because I don't want to play the same edit of this song every single set that I'm at. Because one, like I get bored with it because I've heard it 100 times already.
I'm with you.
But two, then the staff has already heard this edit where like you drop a new one, they're like, oh shit, this is a dope remix of this. So,
keep them on their toes.
Yeah.
And for me, outside of the actual party, I record almost everything I do, and I put out a lot of it. So if I'm playing the same sets all the time, the recordings are all going to sound the same. So I make it a point to like make sure that it's totally different. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of overlap. Like at a spot like John Boy, there's like a core like 25 songs that you're definitely going to hit.
Yeah, must play.
Like like Dancing Queen and Staying Alive and those like classic like well known disco joints.
Yeah.
That they're gonna show up in both recordings. But yeah, I actually did the same thing you just mentioned, where I dragged my history from the St. Pete one into a crate, and I made another crate of like all the things that I didn't play.
Yeah.
So I made sure to like tap into that crate a little bit heavier to keep it different.
Yeah. Which is, there's a lot of people that wouldn't do that because they're like, this is in St. Pete. These are in Cleveland. Like they didn't hear this set in St. Pete at all.
I could have totally played the exact same
100%.
set. I played maybe like 50 of the same songs.
Yeah.
But not in the same
in
order.
completely different orders. Yeah.
Yeah. And like totally spread out from each other. But yeah, that's totally a thing that a lot of the touring guys do, is they just play the same set in every city. Which, if you've got your set and it works, I'm not knocking it. I just, I'd rather challenge myself and have like unique recordings.
You just touched on something of like the recording of your mixes. And that was one thing that I wanted to bring up with you, because for me, and I am sure a lot of other DJs that are watchers and listeners, you record basically every set now.
Everything, yeah.
And then are you really posting like every single one, or are you picking and choosing like which ones?
I post most of them.
Okay.
Not out on like my Mixcloud, but they're all on Patreon.
Yep. Yeah.
So you have to pay. There's a paywall essentially to access like the majority of the mixes. And then a lot of times if I'll do a full night, like a 4-hour night or 5-hour night, I'll put like 45 minutes to an hour on Mixcloud.
Okay.
As like a teaser.
Little preview. Yeah.
Yeah. Like just to keep the Mixcloud machine churning and
Yeah.
making sure I have a fresh mix up there, like at least once a month or once a quarter. And then I put the rest of it on the Patreon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I put up like mostly everything. That's the thing. I don't DJ as much anymore. You know, I'm only out on the road for like 3 or 4 gigs a month.
Which is good. That's what you want. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Some gigs or some months are heavier than others. Like October was crazy. But like November is pretty chill. Like for November, I only have like 4 gigs. So, and because of that, I do want to make sure that I record everything because they're all different gigs.
Yeah.
So just, you know, building up the catalog, and I have like a bunch of people that want to hear new mixes all the time. So I just, you know, keep the people happy.
Are you giving like breakdowns and like track lists and all that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, track list for sure.
Yeah.
A PDF, everything in order.
And then, so what I wanted to ask is like, for me, especially for like live sets, like if I'm doing something for a mix show, you can kind of get in there and grind on it a little more in like a DAW, Ableton, whatever, and really perfect it. Where when you were talking about that, I'm like, the first thing I think of is these live mixes and making those little mistakes like in a live mix. And then for me, I instantly don't want to post it up because I listen to like other mixes that I'll find on like Mixcloud and listen to like the live mixes. I'm like, damn, there's a lot of like mistakes in this, but then that's also kind of what makes it more authentic as a DJ. So how do you look at that, and how are you like, was there kind of a gap that you had to bridge where you were like comfortable enough to post just like every set, even if there was mistakes or anything in the set?
Yeah. I don't care if there's mess ups in it. I mean, everybody has the like little, like I had a few last night. I had one where I think I must have a cue point set wrong on this one song where like the vocal came in too early and I had to like wheel it back and start it over, and all that's on the recording.
Yeah.
But like it's still kind of all on beat, and you heard a little bit of the vocal for 2.5 seconds. Like nobody's gonna care.
Yeah.
And also it shows that we're human.
Yep.
And yeah, I don't feel any type of way about having mistakes in my live recordings. The other thing I do is I multi-track all of them. So I mix the live sound. I set a microphone in the room.
Yeah. So we're
And
getting
so
the crowd
I mix
noise.
the Serato audio or the mixer audio with the room audio.
Yeah.
So if there's like sing-alongs happening, or like you just hear like everybody talking in the background, because I want you, when you hear the live mix, I want you to feel like you're in the room.
Yeah, that's what my buddy Even Steve from Milwaukee does stuff for Club Killers. He does the same thing where he'll have like a 360 camera. He takes the audio from that and then blends it with the Serato recording audio too, which I love that, because then especially if you're dropping faders, you're hearing the crowd sing along to those songs too.
Yep.
And then when you're listening back to a mix, like, you know, in your headphones or in your car or whatever, you're probably singing that part too, and then you hear the crowd sing along to it. It just makes it a lot more interactive and entertaining, like listening to those mixes too.
That's what got me into DJing, is hearing the live broadcasts from the nightclubs.
Yeah.
I'm just like recreating my childhood, man. Like every weekend. I'm like dead ass. Like that's all I do is try to like, I'm just trying to chase that high.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I feel like that kind of thing and like posting recordings is something that I deal with personally a lot, where it's more than likely negatively affecting me as a DJ, where it could be holding me back from like bookings and things like that, where if I were to just post these sets that I don't necessarily think are like perfect, and I'm like not confident enough to post them out on like a Mixcloud or anything, where then the majority of people would listen to it and be like, oh, this is dope. But for me and like my DJ brain, I'm like, oh, it has to be perfect because I hear this mistake that maybe a lot of other people wouldn't necessarily pick up on.
Yeah. You just got to remember that like you're doing something at like a pretty high level. So you're going to be given some grace for mistakes. And then also I got to remember the friend that told me this years ago. It was like, he kind of likened me to one of the X-Men, not the X-Men, the Executioners, like the DJ crew, but like X-Men Marvel.
Yeah.
He's like, man, if the X-Men make a mistake, like they're still the X-Men. And I'm like, all right, cool. Thanks.
That's what I needed. All right. Yeah.
So yeah. And then, I still love making like multi-track mixes in Ableton. I still do a lot of those, but I guess in the radio days, like when I had a radio show, mix show in DC for many years, I had a Saturday night show, and a lot of times it was pre-recorded, and they were all like 25, 28-minute segments. If I had like a huge mistake within the first like 2 or 3 songs, I would start over.
Yeah.
Because it's pre-recorded and I had the ability to do it.
Yep.
And all of those radio mixes were all just done on turntables. I never did them on Ableton. It's actually more time consuming to do them on Ableton, especially when you have to add in like imaging and all that other stuff. So, yeah, mistakes happen.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be
Nobody's
a little bit
perfect.
more comfortable with that. Yeah. But yeah,
Except for Coco, he's perfect.
Talk about this Patreon, man. Let's see what we got going here. Give us a little synopsis of what you're putting out here, and then talk the workload, because between your Patreon and then being an exclusive editor, remixer for DJ City, I mean, what is your weekly, your monthly workload looking like between the two?
Yeah, so everything I make for Patreon and DJ City is really just made for me. It's made for me and my use. And the way I look at it is, if other people can benefit from it, that's great.
Yeah.
And that's how I started. That's how it's always been. I started making DJ edits in like 07, 08, like in the early years of Serato. That's when I actually switched to Ableton too, was like 08.
Okay.
So I was on like Pro Tools and SoundForge and a bunch of other like random programs. But yeah, the switch to Ableton got me into making like heavy into DJ edits, and I just made them for myself. And I used to give them out for free for years, just to the homies. And then I started like building a little mailing list, which snowballed into like a huge mailing list. But I just make them for me. And it's the same thought process with DJ City. And the guys there have even told me, like, we want you to do you, because that's why we have you on here, for like your style, your taste.
Okay.
Because they have like a really, really great mixer editor team.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. And my quota with them, I give them like 2 or 3 things a month.
Okay.
That's it. And then everything else is on Patreon. And I keep them very separate.
Yeah, you're not getting DJ City exclusive edits on your Patreon, and then vice versa.
Yeah.
Patreon is only getting the Patreon ones. Yeah.
Yep. And I tell people that.
Yeah.
And like most people subscribe to DJ City anyway, so it's like you're gonna get that stuff on there. And I like keeping my toe over there, kind of dipped in, because those are the homies. I've been rocking with them for like well over 10 years.
Yeah.
I've been working for them like officially on their remix editor team for a long time. Not that long, but like I think since like 2017, 2018, something like that. Yeah. And yeah, just they have a huge platform, so it's good for me from like a publicity, content, PR standpoint to kind of be on that team, and it's a great team to be aligned with. And the Patreon thing started, a friend of mine, DJ Zimmy, DJ dude, he's from Pittsburgh, Private Stock Records.
Okay.
He's the one that kind of convinced me to do Patreon. He was just bugging the hell out of me, like, you gotta start a Patreon. I was like, what's Patreon? And he's like, you gotta do it. And this is back in like 2019.
Yeah.
He was putting the bug in my ear at Playlist, the last playlist before this one. He was like, this thing, it's Patreon, you got to do it. Cause he knew I made edits and stuff and was always like making music. He's like, you got to start this. It's like a subscription thing. And yeah. I was like, yeah, whatever. Then COVID happened. And then late 2021, I was finally like, all right, I'll start a Patreon. So December 2021, I finally said, all right, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it on my terms. I'm just going to, like, same as I always have, make stuff just for me. If other people benefit and like it, that's great. And yeah, it just took off. Got pretty popular. I was able to use my existing mailing list and social media followers to kind of funnel the DJs that wanted the remixes and edits towards the Patreon. So yeah, it's been great. It's been whatever, that's 3 years now? Almost 3 years. Yeah, coming up on 3 years, 3-year anniversary.
Yeah. What are you looking at like members now?
I have a little over 1,500.
Jesus.
Yeah. Now that's total.
All levels.
All members, even unpaid.
Free members,
Yeah, that's including free.
Yeah.
So,
which I still think is awesome, and it's cool that like Patreon is adding more features. Like I feel like every month there's like something new that they're doing, because then even those free members are just essentially an extended mailing list for you.
Right, and I try to convert. I try to use like certain strategies every month to convert
those free members to a paid. Yeah.
Right. And I do get a few, and there's like some ebb and flow. Like I would say probably like, a little under 10%, like plus and minus every month, drop ad.
Yep.
And then I have some guys that have, I mean, this is not like a secret, but they know that I only keep my links up for 90 days.
Yeah.
So they'll subscribe paid for 1 month. They'll get
everything.
the 3 months worth, and then they'll drop, and then they'll come back 3 months later. And I'm like, fine, work the system.
Yeah. saving their 2 months of subscription money, but
that's fine. If that's how you want to play the game, shit, do it.
Still supporting.
And the 90 days thing, I've been doing that for about 1.5 years.
Yeah.
Because when I first started, I just left it all up. Like all the links were active.
Yes, and anybody can just grab the Dropbox link a year later and go get all your shit. Yeah.
Now it's just 90 days.
Yeah.
And if you want the full back catalog access, you have to be annual subscriber.
Okay. Oh.
Or you have to have like a year under your belt.
Which is just more perks. Yeah.
And the annual is great. You get 2 months for free. So, and you're getting the year forward edits, and you're getting all the back catalog.
Yeah.
So.
See, Patreon plugs, go check it out.
Yeah.
But no, I think the way that you're describing it too, of making the edits for yourself, it works for you, especially with like we were just talking about all the different venues that you're going to play, because you're making edits that are going to fit for some DJ somewhere, and the majority of DJs at most sets. I've been on the Patreon. I have other people that I know that are on your Patreon that speak very highly of it. And then obviously the DJ City stuff. It's things that work in one of your sets or another. Like you're going to find a place that you can fit in these edits and remixes.
And with the sets, I will often, at least like once a month, when I post a live set on the Patreon, like a mix with a track list, I'll make an edit pack. I'll just take like 15 or 20 edits of mine out of that mix.
Yeah.
And I'll put a pack out. Like, here's the pack of edits from that mix. And people love that.
Because that way they're actually seeing how it was used in that set that you played. Yeah.
And I make so much different kind of stuff and such a wide range of stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Where it's all these different sets that you're playing. You're going to hit every genre, every style of music, and make these edits and remixes for all of it, which has got to be awesome for the following, man. So it's awesome.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I don't hear many complaints. Like, of the very, very few complaints I get on there, it's mainly from like guys that just don't read.
Okay.
Like, they don't read the welcome message. They don't read the membership tab. They don't read. Like this one dude posted a comment like just like a week ago and was like you should have up a year's worth of like, how come I can only go back to like July? And I'm like,
It's literally why we just said, because otherwise you could just go and grab everything.
yeah. And I mean, some people have it set like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm at the point where that's where I want to be.
Yeah.
And I think there's a huge incentive if you do want like years and years and years worth of stuff that you can just get it if you want it for a little bit more. And he like, I don't know how the other major record pools work other than DJ City, but I think
Club Killers is 90 days too, I think.
I was going to say keep stuff up for like 10 or 11 months and then they take it down. Unless it's like a really hot song, they'll leave it up a little bit longer, but they don't keep their stuff up that long.
Well, I think with like record label regulations and shit now and like all the Sony stuff.
Oh, there's probably limits.
Yeah, I think that I remember, I think it was like DeVille or somebody saying that that's why like Club Killers stuff was, I want to say it was only like 90 days for them now, where it's like they have to pull stuff down and like recycle it and then put it back up, or there's some like weird little loophole that they have to like work around now.
Yeah.
Where you can't just go in there and get a 2016 track edit that was up there forever ago because they have it pulled down now. But then I look at like a DMS, and DMS has a catalog of fucking 20 years of music that stays up there. So I don't know.
I recommend them to a lot of new DJs because I know they've got a great
Such a wide range.
catalog of classics.
Yeah.
That if you need to fill up your Serato, that's definitely the spot.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we talked about the mixes. Are you doing any like videos of the sets? And then as far as like promoting the Patreon and then yourself, all that kind of stuff, are you a guy that's like taking content, putting content out that's you working on edits, anything like that?
Yeah. I have like behind the scenes clips and little videos on the Patreon, everything from here's my setup for how I shoot social media reels to behind the scenes of like making edits to settings for certain things or like library management. I do all that. I definitely videotape a lot of sets. I haven't put out video of a set in a month or two. I have a bunch of video that I need to edit of sets, and I video record a lot of my live sets. The last one I did was I did two. I did the Pangea Sound set in Tampa. I took video of that set, which I will put out, and then I did some Halloween set video from Off the Record in Houston. I'll put that out. Yeah, and I'll break it down into clips of like cool moments.
Okay.
And I'll put those on social media.
Just so you have little reels that you can hit.
Yeah. Like I could convert like an hour-long live video into like
15 reels.
10 or 15, yeah. Probably more like 10 like good enough moments to put out. And then I combine that with the like pre-recorded DJ videos that I do in the studio. And then that's like enough content for the month.
Yeah.
There's community, and part of this is like community building, and I love that aspect of it, but felt detached. So now Patreon has a community chat.
Yeah.
So it just
there's no point in even having it. Yeah.
And it's mostly there for people making requests.
Yep.
Like, hey, can you make a mashup of this and this, or can you make like a quantized edit of this?
Which then, if you're getting random ass stuff that you don't even want to do, or it's not going to like necessarily.
I say no a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
Or I'll even break down why. I'll be like, oh well, it's usually one of like three things. Like so and so already did that.
Yep.
Go to their thing and get it from them. Or like somebody else has done it better. Or like it's a song I don't want to touch. Or it'll be like a terrible mashup that I'm like, you know what, these two songs, and I'll be very diplomatic and polite, and I'll be like, look, I don't think these songs go well together.
Yeah.
And if there's even like a little doubt in my mind, I'll just throw it in and like play around with it. And I'll write back and I'm like, hey, I messed around with it. It didn't sound so great.
You're like, I can't go and make this in good
They're
taste.
like, all right, cool. Well, thanks for trying. But then I do get a lot of asks for stuff that's like, oh, that's a great idea. Or like, oh, that's a quantized thing that I actually have stems for that I'll make like a proper version of.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of inspiration. It's the same DJing too. Like,
And when you're getting
I know there's a
requests
lot
or
of
something like
DJs that are like, I hate requests.
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah.
Because it gives me more of a pulse of like what people want. And you know this too. And a lot of guys do, even like newer guys, that you can discern between the requester that's reading the room and the requester that just wants to hear
Their
Best
song.
I Ever Had by Drake at John Boy at 1:30 in the morning. Like, lady, we're not playing that right
Yeah.
now. Like,
But I also think
wrong vibe.
I think stuff like that is nice too, and like for the people that are so against requests, where a lot of times you get a request where you're like, "Fuck!" Like I totally forgot about that song.
Yeah,
or
the
like,
reminder request.
Yeah, or like
Those are the best.
yeah, you're like, all right, cool. Like that's actually perfect.
Like, I haven't heard that song in forever.
Yep. Yeah,
for
or
sure.
songs that every now and then you get one that actually does fit the vibe, and you're like, "Ooh, cool!" Like I totally can go there right now because that's the pocket that I'm in.
Yeah.
So I like that. So
Here, don't say no to requests.
Yeah.
Make the people happy.
got to make a like a reverse shirt of all the no request shirts. You're gonna make one that says "Don't say no to requests."
Well, listen, there's many different types of DJs. If you're like local resident or you're playing an open format club, even if you're like a bigger name touring headliner type of DJ,
yeah,
you're still kind of serving the people and you're serving the dance floor. And if you can make some people happy, and like no one's gonna know that it was a request, so you
Besides
can take
the
all, you
person
can
that-
still
yeah.
take all the credit.
yeah,
But yeah, like I've done sets where it's just like me showcasing,
Yeah.
and I'm playing like all my own edits, all my own remixes, original music, and in that type of situation, yeah, like there's no requests. I'm doing me. I have a captive audience. It might even be like a ticket sale or like a ticketed venue. Like the thing I did for Pangea Sound.
Yeah.
I played direct support, but my set was like almost entirely my own shit. So, yeah. That type of thing, there's going to be no requests.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah,
And then, I've done showcases where people want to just see me do me. They want to hear all my stuff and hear my routines and hear my remixes and stuff. So,
yeah. Well, what do you got coming up on the lineup? Give us you got stuff going into Q1 that you got set up.
I'm in a band.
Yeah,
We're headlining with Jungle and Anderson .Paak. The band I'm in is called Plastilina Mosh. They're like a Mexican group. They're like a legacy act now. They had
Okay.
big hits in the late 90s, early 2000s. So they're just still touring off of those hits. And I've been tour DJing for them for like 10 years,
okay,
since 2014. So I have a show with them at a festival there. And then that's it. And then January, February, March, just like back out on the road.
yeah,
Hawaii, Japan, Miami again.
yeah,
And just trying to book out like more and more and more. I'm trying to do another Asia run. I haven't been back to do an Asia run in like since 2018, since pre-COVID.
Where are you doing in Japan?
That's a great question.
Okay.
I'm in talks with one venue. The trip itself is going to be actually my wife's 40th birthday.
Okay,
So we're trying to like
Line
work
it
it
out
out
so
so
you
I
can-
can have at least like one gig to play.
yeah, yeah,
But I do want to do like a proper Asia run again. Like I did a tour in 2018 where I was out there for like 4 weeks
that's awesome.
and I did like 6 gigs.
yeah,
So just want to like keep traveling and just keep doing music. Like I have a ton of original music coming out. I have a collab project with this dude from Toronto, link in bio.
yeah,
He and I have a group called FaceTyme.
yeah,
We have a EP completely done. We're trying to finish one more song. It's going to be like a 5-track thing. And that's just been like 2 years in the making. That's almost done. We're just wrapping up like artwork and stuff now. So putting that out. We were trying to get it out by the end of this year, by the fall, but just a lot of hurdles.
yeah.
So we'll probably push that back till the spring, maybe.
Yeah, Lincoln's been on he's done a mix for me before
Oh,
too.
dope.
Awesome
Okay.
dude.
I'll have to check it out. I didn't know that.
He's an awesome dude. He's like another guy where I've never actually met him, but like social media wise, we'll reach out, talk to each other, and just kind of.
So that's the funny thing about our duo is we called it FaceTime because we've never met in person.
Gotcha.
So we collab online, send Ableton sessions. We've got a Dropbox that's always open that we can open sessions, and I'll be like, all right, you jump out of it so I can jump in and make changes. So yeah, we have a really interesting and kind of cool
dynamic
remote workflow. And then, just trying to do like more music, more original music. I want to put out another Disco House EP, but I think I'm going to do it under a different name.
Okay. Velvet Hoss.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not going to abandon the Trayze thing by any means.
It'll just be a little alias forever. Yeah.
But I think it'd be just an interesting experiment to do a genre of music that I love and I love producing, and put it out under a different name just to like see what it can do without being attached to me. Because I think the last 2 Disco House EPs I did were just under like Trayze, and I don't think it like alienated anyone, but people were kind of just like, huh?
Yeah.
So I don't want to confuse anybody. Not that I'm like known for one thing. The most successful person I can think of that's like known for like so many different genres and styles and so good at all of them is like A-Track. So he's definitely like somebody that I look up to in terms of being like multi-genre, multifaceted producer, remixer, DJ. Because he's done it all and been wildly successful at all of it, from like the battles to doing hip hop records to doing house music to doing like, everything Fool's Gold related.
Yeah.
So I just want to like never be pigeonholed into one genre. I want to be able to be successful at all of it, but I do think maybe it's time to like put the Disco House stuff under a different name.
Yeah.
And I've also got some collabs with other friends for Disco House stuff. Like I want to do a track with Spider Tech. Yeah. He's got some Disco House stuff that we've like sent back and forth. Another one would be a Miami Funk Machine is another one. And I've been sending him stuff. He's been sending me stuff. So yeah, I just want to do more of that. Yeah. But I got to like figure out a name to do it under.
Do you have any ideas already or not yet?
No.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Well, we'll be staying tuned to those projects then. So that'd be pretty cool. I mean, I like seeing, like you said, like DJs that can be so multifaceted that they can go into these different directions and dive into different genres and be successful as an entire cohesive like unit where you're good at hitting on multiple genres and expanding your brand and who you are as a DJ and a creative. So, but yeah, man, last thing I got for you is something I like to do on every episode. Just have these guests put somebody on a platform. So it can be another DJ, it can be a venue, an event, it can be a restaurant, whatever you want to put on the platform, shine a little spotlight on so these listeners, these viewers can go check them out and show a little support. So
damn. Well, it's funny, since we've been talking a lot about Patreon, I subscribe to like 15 different Patreons. And, that's like a good chunk of money every month.
Yeah.
But I'm just like supporting the homies and paying back into a community that I want to be a part of, that I want to see flourish, and, paying it forward a bit. And also, I want to have access to like all this cool music. Yeah. So I think if I were just to put, not like one person, but like if you follow a producer or remixer or DJ that has a Patreon that they're putting out DJ edits, or, jump on and support them.
Love it.
Yeah, it's definitely like allowed me to change my trajectory with production, and it's benefited my career and life positively. So if you can support somebody else in that way directly,
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah. I love it, man. I love the stuff that you get from a Patreon, and obviously you're using it for your own sets, but like for me and the guys that I subscribe to, it's so helpful to get stuff that's not necessarily found on record pools. That way you have a little bit of a different curated set than some other people that are only digging through record pools, and just being able to have different music that not everyone else has that they can play. So
Yeah, it's another way to set yourself apart. I mean, we all have access to the same music, so
yeah.
the more digging that you can do, the better.
Yeah, 100%. So you got any favorites? Like, who are some of the top ones that you
Man.
love
All right.
subscribing to?
I subscribe to Eccentric,
Yep, his is fucking awesome.
Nick
Yep.
Bike,
Yep.
Spider Tech has a new one. I'm on Danny Diggs, Beat Breaker, DJ Bizon.
Yep. Bizon's a homie, man. He's a Milwaukee guy.
Okay, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Flip Out is great. There's more. There's
You have,
a bunch
like-
more. Oh, Kaz. I'm on Kaz.
Yeah.
Kaz is really good
He was
one
just
too.
out here like last month. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's the Miami guy.
Yeah.
Love that guy. I'm on so many more.
You literally, like, all the ones you've said are people I follow too.
Yeah,
So,
they're great.
yeah, it's good shit. I didn't know Spider Tech had one.
He just started it.
Okay.
like a couple months ago.
I was like, yeah, go check that out, because he's
Yeah.
another dude where he can make a lot of different genres of music too. So
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah,
like, he
very
did his project
talented.
with like Trayze, and then obviously what you're talking about working on with him are just two polar opposite directions of music too. So that'd be cool to check his out.
Yeah, it definitely keeps me on my toes, and also like subscribing to everybody else's stuff is like a research project too, you know.
Yeah,
And it's like, so I don't repeat things that other people have done. I mean, obviously, like, we're all gonna do our own version of like Tinashe Nasty, like, who
Yeah.
hasn't?
Yeah.
But also maybe you can like, okay, don't do this blend, or that guy already did that.
don't make this Afro House edit of this.
Yeah, no Maroon 5. I'm a piano, please. Please.
Love it. Well, thank you, man. Thank you for taking the time to sit
of
down
course,
here,
bro.
hop
This
on
was
the
good
couch.
times.
Yeah, very good. So I'll make sure you guys get all of his links for yourself, your Patreon. Does FaceTyme have? Do you guys have a profile for it? Or is
Yeah,
it-
our SoundCloud's popping.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
we're on
I'll
SoundCloud.
make
That's
sure-
the spot. SoundCloud, FaceTime Music.
Yeah, make sure we
look
get all
out.
that stuff plugged in, and then some of the guys that you put for Patreon and who we're shouting out and putting on a platform, we'll get all that stuff in here. So make sure you guys are go following Trayze, DJs. Like he said, I mean, if you're looking for these edits and these remixes, go check out his Patreon. If you're on DJ City, go check him out there. If you're not on DJ City, get on DJ City. And then these mixes that I have come out every single Monday. Those are on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Mixcloud. So if you
I'll
like
have to give you a mix, man.
yeah, do it, man. I would love to have one from you.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
So those are hour-long mixes, good for your workouts, your car rides, anything like that. These episodes out on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Leave any questions, comments you got for Trayze in the comments. Follow on Apple Podcasts or Spotify if you're just a listener like you, if you don't like watching the videos. And then we'll be back next Wednesday. Appreciate it, guys. Thank
No
you.
doubt.
Check, mic check, 1, 2.
Yo, is this thing on or what?